obviously I'm going for monkeyfish.
Do I have a choice?
No. I stole it.
Okay. Old pendulous breast herself.
Chase you through a cave. I know you do outside.
And we're going to talk about how wrong you are after this.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Monsters Lounge. I'm Jeni.
And I'm Tressa.
Yes, you are. That intro never ceases to make me giggle.
I know, it's so good.
It really is. It's the highlight of our conversations. All the rest of them. I mean, no, we have great conversations all the time. What are you talking
they get
about?
better every week. What are you saying?
Every single week.
Yeah.
Tressa, it is so cold in my brain, and everything else is moving so slowly.
Listen, it's so cold that I'm cold all the time. All the
All
time.
the time.
All the time. I
All
don't
the
like
time.
it.
No,
like
I am not a fan.
snow. I don't like walking over snow. I don't like getting snow in my boot. I don't like snow. I'm over it.
I mean, it's beautiful, but I want it to be warmer.
I'm over the beauty of it. I'm so over it. It's cold.
So, listen, everybody should donate money so that we can go someplace warm for the entirety of the winter, and we will probably be funnier and just generally better if we are warmer.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Contribute to our snowbirds slush fund. Hey, you know what I heard?
What?
Or read the headline of a few articles today.
Oh, good. No content, just headline.
Yeah. The good stuff.
Sure.
We're a mere 2 weeks away, if not a little bit less, from Three Eye Atlas coming real close. Real close.
What is 3i Atlas?
It's the undetermined gigantic asteroid that some, maybe one scientist says is a UFO.
Oh, and it's on a collision course?
Yeah.
And we're sending up a team of our finest astronauts and also just with oil drilling guys.
That's correct.
To
Bruce
bury
Willis being one
some
of
sort
them.
of.
And
Oh no.
that one guy, Ben, the Batman guy, he's going to be there too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They've got it covered, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they're oil rig guys. Of course they have it covered.
Is this going to make it warmer outside?
Maybe. Who knows what it will make happen.
Let me know when you get that information, and then I will start caring.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh.
This could be the rebirth or death of our civilization, and you just want to be warm? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. The Earth's been through it before. The Earth will be fine. We, maybe not so much. That's fine.
Yeah, Earth, the planet's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
I wasn't really talking about the planet, though.
Yeah. It's cold. Listen, we have a fantastic guest, and I'm so excited. And I know 100% that I'm going to have a lot of very, very simplistic questions because, as we all know, I am not up to date on anything from outer space. Clearly, we just exampled that right now. I am not up to date. I have
like everyone's
really
talking
hard.
about it.
Well,
okay. Well. I read like 4 headlines today, Jeni. How could you not know about this?
Because my news is not tailored to that. It is tailored to other things. I can tell you that what the squirrels are up to, or if there's any new shark species out there, but can't tell you much about the outer space. The outer space.
Yeah, the outer space. The space that's outer.
Yeah. Tressa, do you want to hear about our guest tonight?
I
Because
do. I'm
thrilled.
sorry. Go ahead.
No apologies. Such an illustrious career. I mean, the woman has done everything. I'm blown away. So, Dr. Irena Scott. She has held scientific and intelligence positions with the Defense Intelligence Agency. She was working in satellite photography. Are you kidding me? With like top secret clearances. She served as a physical scientist and cartographer at the DMA Aerospace Center. What? And she worked at the, I'm going to say Battelle. Am I saying that right? I might not be saying that right.
Battelle.
Memorial Institute, and completed assignments at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Listen, she's all over
Nice.
the place. Not only that, but I believe her advanced degree is in veterinary medicine. But we'll ask her. But please help me welcome Dr. Irena Scott.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Like, you've worked in so many different things. Did I read that right? Is your advanced degree actually or do you have more than one? Is it in veterinary
Yeah,
medicine?
veterinary medicine, the College of Veterinary Medicine.
Okay, first of
Fantastic.
all, thank you.
Yeah.
Because that's stuff that I could not do, and I appreciate a great
Oh,
deal.
well, thank you.
I mean, you know, whew, yeah, but anyway, we're kind of talking about your background. So you had such an extensive background. You've worked in like ufology and aerospace and all of these things. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a rundown of where you got to, being on a board of MUFON, that sort of thing? Like where did you start off with all this?
Well, I started off when I was a very young kid. I wanted to be an astronomer, and I really wanted to be an astronomer. I was just fascinated by everything in space. I wanted to know how everything worked and everything. And so I went through high school and college and started majoring in astronomy. And I started looking for jobs. Well, I would walk in and say, "Can I apply for a job?" And they would say, "No, it's male only." And so, anyway, I've so I had to change my major and my minor because they didn't have females any place in astronomy. That's what I wanted to do. I got a degree, but I still wanted to be an astronomer. So I tried other things to get in. And one of them was cartography, which is map making. And in those days, they were mapping the moon and things. And I wanted to get into that, but I wound up with this high security clearance where I mapped Russia and things like that I wasn't too interested in. And so then I went to the DIA, and I was working in satellite photography, and part of the time, one of the positions was identifying airplanes, and that was sort of interesting. But I wasn't getting into astronomy or anything.
Right. That's so crazy. They're like, silly girl, you can't be an astronomer. Here's your top secret clearance.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
actually
What?
spy on Russia.
Right? That's crazy.
So then I got married, and my husband I was working in Washington. My husband had a job in Nevada, and I moved out there and went into graduate school and eventually got a PhD in veterinary medicine. And then that was my degree, so I started working in that field and worked. I had a postdoc at Cornell and a professorship at St. Bonaventure. And also, my husband moved again. I moved with him, went to Ohio, and was a toxicologist and that sort of thing. But um, they always haul out scientists in the field of UFOs, and the science always says, "Oh, there's no such thing as UFOs." Well, I didn't talk about it much, but I had sightings, and so I was kind of interested in UFOs. And as I got closer to retirement, I started talking about it and kind of did some investigation and went into it more.
When do you have most of your sightings? Was it before your professional life or was it as a child?
It was as a child, but it wasn't something I went around talking about for many, many, many years. It
Yeah.
started as a child, but then I had several over the years. and I always had other people with me. That made me very happy because otherwise I was afraid I'd think I was crazy or something.
Right. Right. Like it's very new for this to be accepted as something that you might
Mm-hmm.
see. So I can see why you want to keep your mouth shut for a little bit.
Yeah, I
It's
kept,
really nice to have the people backing you up. Real nice.
yeah, it really is. I mean, some people don't care, but I care. I'm
Right.
so
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah, I could imagine so, especially having such a scientific mind. You know, like it's your automatic assumption doesn't always go to that, but it would be terrifying to have a scientific bound mind and then just start to sort of question it. So I'm imagining I'm just rambling now. There's nobody wants to hear
No,
from me
that's a
anymore.
good point. Like, you don't listen. You're naturally going to be a skeptic if you're a scientist, I imagine. You need that backup. You guys saw that right?
Yeah, it doesn't make me respect scientists as much as I should because um, they're just prejudiced. I mean, they wouldn't let females into that field, and that's not intelligent logic thing to do. They should,
Right.
you know, judge people on what they do instead of, say, well, no females.
Right.
Yeah, it's that aside is completely mind-boggling, and one would think we'd be further along, but anyway. Um, okay, so just a few little more questions before we move into like the big deal that I know Tressa 100% wants to talk about and that I know very little about. But you were at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which to my little bit of knowledge is where they took whatever remnants they found from Area 51. Is that accurate?
From Roswell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story, and I think it's true because um, they have a recording of a. You see, it's controversial whether they did or not, but I think there's hard evidence that it's true because they have a recording of a radio show, and the announcer said he had just called um, Wright Patterson. I think it was Wright Patterson, and anyway, he announced in the middle of the show that these people are in an airplane going to Wright Patterson with the debris. And so I think that's pretty good evidence that they sent something to Wright Patterson right after Roswell.
Right at the time they had that radio show,
Uh huh.
I had no idea. I had no idea. Can you find that online anywhere? Do you know?
It's in one of my books. I gave reference to it. It's in my book, UFOs Today. I see my copy of it right now. Well, I don't have my copy right now, but it's in a book I wrote called UFOs Today. Where did I put that? Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We will have a link to your website in the show notes, and I know for a fact that that book is on there because I was looking at it earlier
Okay.
today.
Good. Yeah, it's in there. I give a reference to it.
That's incredible. So you were there. You were doing some assignments there.
No, I didn't work for Wright Patterson, but I worked as a toxicologist, and they had toxicology meetings at Wright Patterson, like conferences and things. And so I was there for some of them and in the secured area. And then also I had met the archivist of Wright Patterson, and he invited me in to see all kinds of things, which I was very happy about. I mean, not to see, I was escorted all the time and I couldn't wander around and look for corpses and hidden UFOs or anything like that. But I did get to see a lot of Wright Patterson, and I was in the secured area and even in what they call the Blue Room.
Okay.
Oh,
Explain this to me. What is the Blue Room?
It's supposed to be this top secret area where they say there's UFOs, and
Okay.
Rockefeller was, or Goldwater, I mean, when he was running for president, he wanted to see it, and he was rejected and things like that. And then later they identified it as a particular building. And when I was there, I didn't know it was a blue room or anything, but later I found out that this was what was called the blue room.
Did
I
you
love
see
this.
anything fun in there?
No, I was heavily escorted. I mean,
Oh,
I was with somebody all the time, so I wasn't allowed to just wander around and look to see if there were any hidden UFOs in the basement or anything like that. There's a lot of stories about that there were, but I didn't get to wander any.
How bad did you want to, though?
right?
Oh, yeah, I really wanted to.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you ended up working with MUFON at some point, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. How did your work there transpire? Like what did you do? What is the general
Oh, I was just an
experience there?
investigator. I when I started in UFOs, um, they had a local group where I lived, and it was called Mid Ohio Research Associates, and I joined it and investigated sightings and things like that. And then also I joined the Center for UFO Studies and MUFON, and
Yeah.
um, later I was on the board for a while of directors, um, and investigated UFOs for a number of years, like mainly sightings in Ohio where I lived.
Yeah. Um well, I know we kind of really wanted to get into an overview. Oh, you know what? I did have a question. I saw something in one of the blurbs that you had written. And again, somebody's going to have to explain this one to me, but looking into bendable metal. Did you did some of this? You seen it? Is this something that people have seen or experienced? Is this,
Um,
is this a thing?
it was what there were in uh, there's a story that debris from there Roswell was supposed to be a crash of a UFO,
Hmm.
and the story is they had debris, and the debris was sent to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But they also, um, the Project Blue Book at that time was doing a secret, while they were saying UFOs don't exist, they were at that same time doing a investigation at Battelle Memorial Institute where I worked part-time. And so I knew some of the people that were there at that time when that was going on. And what was interesting is that um, they were supposed to be designing a questionnaire and figuring out what questions to ask people about UFOs and things like that. But instead, what everybody was curious about was instead of um, sending the material to people that would be in that type of field, they sent it to metallurgists. And so it was interesting that um, they people thought that they studied the metallurgists studied the Roswell debris, and in one case there was a man there that um, worked there, and it was a long time. Nobody heard of Roswell until about 1980 when the book was published, but this was before that. And this man told some people that he had worked with strange debris that had real odd characteristics and eye beams, and writings on it. And that was years before anybody ever heard of Roswell. But what he described was like the descriptions of things from Roswell. And so I had mentioned that in several books, and it attracted quite a bit of attention for a while.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know we're gonna have to take a break here soon. Do we want to do that and then get into my big question?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be right back. Have you been feeling called to explore your intuitive gifts and deepen your spiritual practice? Then Pathways to Spirit was created for you. Sarah Lemos has been teaching Pathways to Spirit for over 16 years. And in that time, she's watched hundreds of students grow into their gifts with confidence and clarity. This isn't just about learning tools. It's about understanding how your energy works and how to use it with intention. Over 6 months, you'll learn about your own intuitive abilities and how they show up, along with many esoteric tools and practices to help explore your potential. But this course is about more than just learning. It's about embracing your sensitivity and living your best life. Register now at mediumsarahlemos.com while there's still space. It's time to uncover your gifts and abilities. Are you ready to join this extraordinary journey?
All right, so somebody's gonna have to explain this to me because all I could do was read a little bit. Listen. I have always said I am not up to date on a lot of ghost things, and I am not up to date on a lot of UFO things. Usually people have to sit me down and explain it. I don't know why. I start paying attention to, the squirrels that run around my head that seem to operate things sometimes. Pascagoula. First of all, that's just a fun name.
Yeah.
What happened there? And give me a brief synopsis. And somebody explained to me why it was so much of a bigger deal than a lot of reports that are given.
Well, it was 2 men. One was in his 40s, and one was a teenager, and they were co-workers. They were also family friends. The older man was a friend of the other man's father, and vice versa. And they had their day of work, and then they went fishing, which is recreational and something people do in Pascagoula. There's a Pascagoula River in the Gulf and everything. There's all kinds of water, so people do things, with water like fishing. And so after their day of work, they decided to relax and go fishing. And they were just perfectly normal people doing a perfectly normal thing. I mean, nothing unusual at all. And so they looked for a good fishing spot. And the younger man had a new car, and he was nervous about where they parked and things. But the older man said, well, this is a good spot for fishing. And the younger man didn't exactly want to park because there was no trespassing sign and a lot of weeds on the way to this pier where they were going to fish. But the older man said, let's go. And so the younger man went, and they, had their fishing equipment and were ready to fish. And they heard this sound. And this blue thing came, and they saw blue. And the younger man thought, oh, it's the police. And he was going to say, take this man to jail. He's the one that, it was his idea. It wasn't mine and all that. He was worried about his car and everything.
Sure, and that's what I tell the police on Tressa too.
Yeah.
Anytime
It's
we
her
get busted
fault.
on anything, it's her. Look at the
all
blonde.
the time.
Look at the blonde. Yeah.
So anyway, it turned out to be a whole lot worse than the police. Much, 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 much worse. It turned out that this was this thing was levitating, and it wasn't the police. It was an object, and it levitated up and opened some way, and a whole lot of light came out. And these things came out of it that were like beings or something. And two of them grabbed the older man, one of them grabbed the younger man and took him inside. And in general, one of the things that happened to them was they both felt that they were scanned. And they were paralyzed. I mean, you'd try to run away if you saw something capturing you, especially if it was, I mean, if something like that stops and captures you, you don't know you don't know whether they're going to kill you or whether they're going to take you to some other planet and put you in a zoo or sacrifice you or what could happen to you. And they were absolutely terrified, but they were also paralyzed and they couldn't move. And so they were taken in this thing, and it was very, very light inside it, so much that they just couldn't hardly see anything. But they both felt they were being scanned, and then they were released. And what's really odd about it is that people report abductions. And one of the characteristics of abductions is that it takes place out in the boondocks, away from everybody. And often it's just one person, so you can't document anything or substantiate anything. And there's no witnesses or anything. That's why abduction accounts aren't, the abduction is the idea of being captured by aliens. And that's a reason why it isn't taken seriously is because there's usually no documentation at all. It just happens to, people a long ways away from everybody out in the middle of nowhere. Well, and then a lot of people don't remember it afterwards, and often they remember it under hypnosis or something comes back to them. Well, in this case, it was different to start with because the two men were conscious and conscious throughout the whole episode. And obviously, if something like that happened to you, not only is it very, very traumatic, but you don't want to say anything about it, especially back then, because nobody even thought UFOs existed. And if you're going around saying, oh, I was abducted, well, nobody would believe you and you'd be the laughing stock of the world. And so the younger man, at first both of them said, well, we're not going to say anything. But the older man thought about it, and he had been in life and death situations in the military and fought. And he thought it should be reported. And he thought he could, after life and death situations, he thought he could survive the harassment. The younger man didn't want anything to do with reporting it because he had his whole life ahead of him. And he didn't want to go through life with everybody saying, there's the UFO man, these UFOs and all that. So anyway, they disagreed and they tried to report it. And first of all, they tried the newspaper. And the newspaper, I think it was kind of closed, but it wasn't interested, which, they might be interested in some cases, but this newspaper wasn't interested at all. And then they tried the Air Force Base, and that's where you're supposed to report UFOs to. But the Air Force Base said that Project Blue Book, the government study, had closed. It had decreed that UFOs don't exist. They don't report anything because they don't exist. If you see them, they don't, having hallucinations and everything. So they told him to report to the sheriff's office. Well, they did. I mean, the older man
The older guy
reported. Yeah, the younger wasn't thrilled about it at all.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite details where they're like, we're not going to, no, not reporting it. I'm going to report it.
Well, I mean, if it happened to you, what would you do?
I would totally report it. I would be
she
telling it
would,
right
yeah.
here on this podcast every day.
But
Listen,
would
I've
take
got
me
a
a
new
while.
episode every day until you people listen to me.
but not in 1973
No.
when UFOs didn't exist.
I mean, I may have, but I'm weird that way. But
Yeah.
I would have pause. I would have,
yes,
like it would take
Jenny
me a
is
few
the young
minutes.
man, and I am the old guy that's like, I don't care. Let's do this.
I also really enjoy how the Air Force Base was like, "Oh, you saw something? No, you didn't."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said back then. I mean, that was the
Yeah.
official government thing, that they don't exist, and the government
Right.
gave big long study, and said nothing exists. Everybody that sees anything is crazy. There's no,
Yeah.
we're
Everybody
the only
calm
life
down.
in the universe, and all that. And
Right.
so,
Everybody calm down. We just have a lot of crazy people on the planet. So
yeah,
everybody
that's
just
right.
relax.
But they said that for many, many years.
Of
And
course.
so, anyway, then they went to the sheriff's office. And the sheriff's office did a real good investigation that was just amazing, because they put them separately and interviewed them separately. Then they put them together in a room and interviewed them. Then the interviewer walked out, but they didn't tell the two men, but they had a hidden tape recorder. And the reason they did that was because to find out if the men were, hoaxing. And, if they were by themselves and they thought nobody else was there and they were hoaxing, well, they'd be laughing about it and saying, well, instead the two men were just terrified. They were just having heart attacks. They were just out of their minds in fear and just overwhelmed. And so one of them was praying and everything. And so they were believed. And then they also, the men were worried about contamination, and they wanted to go to the hospital and get looked at for that, because like the astronauts would come back and they would put them in a decontamination chamber and all that. And so the two people were worried about it. But they also had, so it attracted a lot of attention because these people were definitely sincere. I mean, there's pretty good proof that they were not making anything up and or hoaxing or anything. And so they had a lot of military people interview them and save the documents about it and the transcripts and stuff. They had two very famous UFO investigators, Dr. Alan Hynek, who was a professor at Northwestern at that time and called the father of ufology. He's the one that invented the, Close Encounters of the First Kind and all that.
Northwestern,
And,
like in Chicago? Or like right outside?
uh-huh.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah. And the other one was Dr. Harder from UCLA. And they were both real scientists who did actual science and professors and, high up people. And they interviewed him and said, these people seem very sincere to them. And I interviewed one of the doctors that interviewed them, and he said they seem sincere. And so if it happens to most people, they don't talk about it and they don't say anything for years if they say anything. But these two remembered it. At that time, they were conscious and they told people about it. At least the older man did. And so, and so another thing that was, I mean, everybody thought they were sincere. They were just honest people. They impressed everybody as being honest. But the other thing about it was is that they remembered it. They were conscious during the event and everything else. And then, so it was quite a bit different than the usual reports of abductions, and it made the news on account of that. Plus, at that time, there were a whole lot of other UFO reports all over the world. There was just a wave going on, and I had references saying it was the largest wave of UFOs ever.
Yeah, we were
And
just reading a few weeks ago, 1973, with a huge wave of UFO
Yeah.
sightings. It's wild.
I think that kind of made it more serious too, because there it was documented two people who were perfectly normal people. I mean, the one was a supervisor of the company, and they were just, not weirdos or anything, going about their normal life,
Yeah.
and reported it. And it
isn't
was
that
very well investigated, very seriously, in a real good investigation.
there's so many things that are like so incredible to me, about this story, but one is like it's so interesting to hear people like I've got a friend who's normal job, regular life. Like he will not come on the show because he doesn't want to talk about the story, but has seen a UFO like very close and just isn't prepared to like have that out in the open, right? But just a regular guy doing regular jobby job stuff and happened to see this thing. But also like how cool that the I guess goal would be a word for it. Um, that the sheriff's office did such a good job with the investigation. Like that's incredible, right?
Yeah, because it'd be normal for the sheriff's office to say, "You're crazy,
Yeah.
go." And they did a really good investigation, which, I mean, somebody now might do that. But 1973, I mean, they would say goodbye, go to the insane asylum or something.
Yeah.
And um, they did a real excellent investigation. But another thing that people didn't know about was is that the sheriff's office at the same time was taking a whole lot of other reports. And um, it didn't come out until later, but um, a lot of Philip Manno, who I worked with, wrote a book with and everything, um, he said that the person that was taking phone calls from the sheriff's department said that around 50 phone calls came in reporting something odd at that same time. And there were other people driving across the bridge where overlooking where it took place. And they also saw
Jenny's
something.
face.
And
I'm so
so
excited.
the sheriff's office was hearing other reports, and that might have been a reason why they took it seriously, because usually these things are undocumented. There's no other witnesses, and this was people were calling
50.
in. Other people were calling in the sheriff's office, even though with all that trouble reporting, being scared to say anything and everything, people are
Yeah.
still brave enough to report something is flying around here that isn't normal.
You're
I
right.
mean it sounds like the plot to a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. 50
So
other
I'm
reports.
blown away by how many people reported it in 1973, that one instance. That's in a small town, too. That's wild. Of course
Yeah,
they're
there
going to
were.
investigate. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, so it was totally different from a lot of other things where uh, nobody believes you. I
Yeah.
mean, and they did a real good investigation, and there were sightings all over the place, and that's probably one reason why it attracted attention. But there were other abductions too, but a lot of them didn't want to talk about it.
There were other abductions in that area?
There were other abductions, I think, all over the country, but um, some of them are just now getting reported because the atmosphere is a little bit better now and open-minded. But my Philip Mann and I interviewed about 50 more people that had that reported sightings at that time, around that time in that same area. So there were a lot of other people that saw it. It wasn't like a normal abduction where there's nothing to document it. This was very well documented. We wrote one of our books is called Beyond Reasonable Doubt, and we named it that because it's like circumstantial evidence in with a jury
Yeah.
that there was enough circumstantial evidence that we think that would have convinced the jury, unlike the normal abduction story.
By the way, did anybody else just flash to like a court case with like a couple of alien dudes like, you can't prove that I did anything? And they like unroll all this evidence. And they're like, yeah, we can. Look at all this circumstantial evidence we got. No? Anybody else?
No.
Oh, just me.
But I
Okay.
appreciate the visual.
You're welcome. I'm so blown away by this story. I'm so excited. This is so wild. So, in your years of investigating, does that tend to happen? Are there waves like that?
There used to be waves, and nobody knew why. There were all kinds of explanations, and the explanations were shot down. But it started about 1947 with Kenneth Arnold, the sighting in Washington, and there was a consistent way to report them. That was Project Blue Book, which was a government agency. It was more or less a debunking agency, but they were purporting to collect officially collect UFO reports. And so there was one general place to report them. And while that was going on, there seemed to be several cases where there'd be a sudden increase in sightings for a while, and then it'd just drop off. And they didn't know why. And there were all kinds of theories that nobody really knew why, though. It didn't really. And then this was after Project Blue Book had declared that UFOs don't exist. But this was a really big wave that people all over the country and the world were seeing them.
When they started sort of moving into like a disclosure sort of like arena where these things became a little bit more public, or they started investigating or taking these things more seriously, did they go back and look at this case?
Well, we're going back. We're going back and look at it in detail.
Yeah.
The younger man, he didn't talk about it for 50 years, and they always say hoaxers are after attention. Well, that's the last thing he wanted. He didn't say anything for a good span of his life, and then finally, Philip Mantle and his wife sort of discussed it with him and said, it's time to say something. And he wrote 2 books, and people were really interested in it, especially since he had not said anything for all those years. They knew he was sincere. And so my latest book is this didn't follow the pattern of abductions, because abductions are usually things that take place in an undocumented way that nobody believes in anything. But this one was a whole lot different because there were so many witnesses. But my latest book offered an explanation for that. It's called Pascagoula, the Ultimate Close UFO Encounter. And what I discovered recently was that not only was this unusual, but it was also by a nuclear area, which nobody knew about and nobody figured out.
Nobody knew it at the time.
Nobody knew it until, lots of people had written about it and studied it and everything else, and nobody realized it was a nuclear area until now.
I had no idea. That's wild.
Oh, that's cool.
That really does seem to happen a lot. They show up in those areas.
Well, it was sort of in disguise because they talk about nuclear areas, and the like things that are nuclear areas. For example, if a UFO is over a nuclear missile site, Well, that attracts attention, especially if they turn off the missiles or something, or if they're over something called Hanover. But this wasn't an obvious nuclear site. And what it was a shipbuilding company, and nobody paid any attention to that. But it was a shipbuilding company that was making atomic powered submarines, and some of these submarines had nuclear tipped missiles. So it was like a missile site, which in that sort of sighting attracts all kinds of attention. People, really pay attention, take it seriously and things. But nobody realized this was a nuclear site until now.
That's so wild. I had no idea. That's great. I love that detail so much.
I do. I just love that there's something that like you have not heard like details on it. I feel like we're learning at the same time. It feels
Oh,
good. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't even know where to go with questions. So that is a thing though, like because I hear about it sometimes, but they do tend to visit nuclear sites.
Yeah, that's what people think. It may be that it just attracts a lot of attention because nuclear sites are really well monitored, and the government takes all kinds of money and all kinds of everything else, expertise and everything else to protect their nuclear secrets and hide nuclear sites and everything else, especially in 1973. Back then, they didn't want people to know there was a nuclear site right beside them and things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could imagine that being hidden quite a little bit. Like, here's our nuclear site, guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening in my head right now.
yeah.
Listen. I'm cold.
Only this was not only a sighting, but it was an abduction by a nuclear site.
Right. We have a question in the chat real quick.
Oh, yes, please.
From me, sorry, Gallagher 3650. Sorry,
or Amy, maybe.
Me? Okay, sorry. Do you think the UFOs/aliens are checking to see humans aren't doing stupid things with nuclear power?
Well, then they haven't met us, first of all.
Well, thank you for the question.
Well, they could. The nuclear power is a whole lot of power because they can destroy the world with that. And you talk about nuclear winter and mutual assured destructions and everything else. Especially back in 1973, they had all these big nuclear missiles that, if just total power to destroy the world, I mean, to kill everybody. And it was, I mean, they still have it, but not quite with the missiles they had back then. But they can still, destroy the world. And so it's something that people should worry about. And that people are very concerned about it. And then if aliens are there, it's something to be concerned about too. And several people have said, well, they're warning us not to use them. And that's what, we're not too smart maybe, and we might have a nuclear war, which might kill everybody and a lot of the wildlife too.
Yeah, we are absolutely not too smart. But yeah, they have a right to be concerned. Yes.
But that would sort of imply like a vested interest in what's going on here on Earth, right? So is that something that kind of is a common belief amongst investigators, is that whomever is visiting from other worlds have interests here?
I think so. I don't know for sure what they call it, UAP now, unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Not here. We still call them UFOs.
Yeah. It used to be objects, but they're talking about phenomena now. And I think that people just don't understand it, and there's all kinds of theories. And some people are saying, well, they haven't killed us yet, so they're not like us taking over, a conquistador type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody knows what's going on.
Right.
There's all kinds of theories and no
Right.
knowledge.
Right. It's not going to be anything but speculation, and boy, do I like to do that. So, yeah.
Who doesn't? That's how we feel safe, as if we can solve the problem before the problem starts.
That's right.
Right, exactly. So do you think anybody knows? Do you think that
Oh, good question.
the government, any government of any country, or do you think somebody is clued in on what's going on, why they're visiting, why they're abducting? I
Well,
know we have 1,000 theories, but do you think that there's someone out there who might actually know the truth of it?
when I worked for the DIA, it was looking for airplanes and identifying airplanes. But my supervisors found a UFO on our top secret classified photography, and they reported it. And their supervisors told them that it didn't exist. It was a spot on the film. It wasn't a spot on the film because it was clear and it was on two different uh, photographs. But they told them it was a spot on the film, and my supervisors, they were, big authorities and high in the government. And they were just amazed that their supervisor talked to them just like the government talks to civilians and said, oh, you're just imagining it. And so that gave me the impression way back then that the government's hiding something. But like the DIA has, our government has satellites going all around the world photographing everything. And I'm sure they get UFOs and but don't talk about it. And so I'd say, up high, there's some knowledge of it, but you don't know whether up high they know it or whether they're hiding it and whether they think it's. I mean, one theory is it's from other countries, and so they want to find out all about it, and they want people to think they know about it and everything, but you don't really know what's. I think the government high up in the government, they know about it, and have a lot more information, like photography and stuff. But I don't know so far as the motives of whatever is causing UFOs or UAP. I don't know if anybody knows.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Do you think it's going to continue to sort of trickle out, or yeah, I guess I'm asking if you feel like there will be more disclosure at some point in time, or is it just going to be inevitable because too many people are going to talk about it and too
Well,
many people are going to compare notes?
one thing I wanted to mention and I mentioned in the book is that what finally broke things open a little bit and caused people to consider it seriously was the Tic Tac video and all that. Well,
Yeah.
the ship that discovered that was made in Pascagoula, which by the shipping company, and I thought that was pretty interesting too.
That's
But
very cool.
Oh, look at that. I like this so much.
but yeah, I think that one reason the government might be just slightly recognizing everything is because they've always said, that scientists and pilots and all these are professional people who don't see UFOs. And of course, if anybody reported them, they buried the stuff and hid it. But there's so many reports from like perfectly good pilots and like the Tic Tac and everything else. And a lot of people think now that maybe we're not the only life in the universe because they've discovered the universe is full of planets, and why would we be the only life,
Right.
anywhere?
How big is the universe? There's no way we're the only ones.
That's what I think. That's a general idea of the public. The public is accepting it a lot more, regardless of what the government always said. So I think the government's coming around a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, not enough.
Yeah.
So I hope it continues, because I think there's a lot of interest, and I think a lot of people have had some kind of experiences or know somebody that has, that causes them to take, the public takes it more seriously. So the government is kind of being pushed into saying maybe they exist.
Yeah.
Force my hand. Fine.
Yeah.
Someday.
Listen, younger generation, from us to you, just report all that stuff out loud, not to governmental agencies, but just let us know. We'll figure it out. Actually, you'll figure it out, but just let us know when you do.
Yes, youngins. Listen, we are at the top of our hour. We need to close up. Is there anything you want to put out there? We're going to have your website in the show notes, so everyone can find your books and everything. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I think this was important because abductions aren't taken seriously, but this is an abduction by a nuclear site, and an important nuclear site in their government places, and a good airport and everything else in the area. And so it should be taken, it shouldn't be just thrown out and like a normal abduction, saying, this is nothing, because not only did it have a huge amount of witnesses, but it also was a very well monitored nuclear site.
Right. Truly, like
It's
incredible story. And story is just, it doesn't even get into how amazing the investigation was, the witnesses, the location. Now I'm finding out it's such a great bit of information.
Listen, Tressa might even read the entire book, which, again, you have a lot of books that are available, and you can check them out right on the website. I think I'm saying words, which I think is just that. Nope.
Good job, Jeni. You can find all the books on the website. I believe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I'm stumbling.
See, that's what I do. Please, please, please stick around with us for a second after we end the show, just so we can say thank you again. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been very nice. Everybody else, hey, would you like to see our website? You should do that. We can be found at monstersloungepodcast.com. We have merchandise and stuff. And you can email us and say hi. Regardless, thanks so much for visiting the Monsters Lounge.